This is Becoming Inclusive from the Kaleidoscope Group, where we're thinking differently about diversity, equity, and inclusion for more empowered people at work. We're committed to real change, and that begins with real conversations. Welcome in.
I'm Reggie Ponder, and welcome to another episode of Becoming Inclusive. I'm here with my co-host, Catherine Potts. Hey, Kat, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Always glad to be on here chit-chatting with you. And today, it's just you and me.
That's you and me. I think what we did is that all the people who've been calling us and saying, hey, I'd like to be on the podcast, we said, we just want to talk about something that we want to talk about. So, to Brian and Lindsay, all those people that we occasionally it just needs to be you and I. So that's really good. You know, one of the things that we've talked a lot about, you and I, is what does loyalty look like between a company and an individual? And I'm such a sports person, and I'm always thinking, what does that look like when the guy leaves my favorite team or a woman leaves my favorite team? Is it okay for them to leave? But then what does it look like when they get traded? So I want to bring that into our discussion as it relates to companies. Is that what are people looking for when we talk about loyalty? And as an employee, what am I looking for from a company? But also, what do we kind of see companies looking for from individuals as well? And do you have some thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I think it's like evolved a lot, because I feel like even 5-10 years ago, loyalty looked kind of rigid, right? And I think now it looks a little bit different because more people in the workplace are wanting that sort of like quote unquote work-life balance that we've talked about, which I think has sort of impacted what loyalty to your company looks like and what those boundaries look like as well.
Yeah. And so if I'm looking at and the reason I think this is important in terms of what we talk about overall is that I think that loyalty looks different for each individual. And I think that becomes tough when you're a company. So some women may feel that loyalty looks like a good maternity leave package. Is that if you're taking care of me from making sure that I can take care of my newborn child, now we're talking. You're the kind of benefits that you provide me and my spouse. That's loyalty. Is that
right?
For men, it may be the same thing. Is that you provide me with leave to go and help out.
Well, and sometimes loyalty looks like you're never going to fire me or furlough me because I work so hard.
Right. It doesn't even matter that you might need something different, right. that I'm not ready for the next level, but because I've done all the things that I've done, you're just going to keep me on and you're going to keep me on forever. And But I think that what you're so right about, Kat, is it looks so different today. My wife is coming on 28 years of working with the company that she's been working for. I don't know a lot of people in your generation that are thinking, yeah, I think I'll work for a company for 28 years.
I mean, honestly, Kaleidoscope Group is the longest that I've ever been at a company. And it honestly had nothing to do with loyalty, which is what's like kind of interesting with this conversation. It had more to do with not feeling fulfilled where I was, not feeling seen in some places, or just not fit, or just, I'm no longer really learning that much here anymore. I'm going to kind of move on. Right. But if in my early 20s, I never thought that I'd be at a company for this long. Like, even when I think about it, I'm like, it's only been almost 5 years, which isn't that long. But for me, I really never thought that I would even get to a place to be, because for me, and I think probably my generation too, sometimes there's also that mentality of like the grass is greener. So there's a lot of different aspects that play into that. But no, these days you don't hear many people that are like, I'm going to stay with this company for the rest of my life.
and so that really does impact how companies start to look at individuals.
Yeah,
to
that's
say,
true.
okay, I know this person is not going to stay here more than 5 years, more than 3 years in some cases, because you guys, you folks in your generation and below are leaving jobs really about 2 years.
Quickly. Yep. For me, that was it, around a year, 2 years, basically.
A 2-year stint. And that used to be frowned upon, in fact. Yep. But I think that you've changed the marketplace in that regard. So companies have to say, okay, loyalty is to me is going to look like developing this person as best as I can to be the best person that they can. So hopefully they'll stay, but definitely when they leave, they will not badmouth my company.
Yeah.
They will tell. I'm thinking, this is just me, coming off the dome here, but I'm thinking companies are saying, at minimum, I have to stop the bad mouthing. So when the person leaves, they say, no, I just moved on because I saw something different, or I wanted something different, or there was a better opportunity, but not because I dislike this particular company. Do you think I'm in the ballpark with that, or am I off?
I think that's a perspective I never really considered, but I actually think there's probably a lot of truth to that. Because if you are looking at somebody's resume and you see they've only stayed at a place 1 or 2 years, but you think that they're like very qualified for the role, then you probably are thinking, what will loyalty look like to us? Right? As however that company defines it, and how can we possibly make the most out of this person? Because there's also risk in, if you were to pick somebody over that individual just because they are known to stay at a company for a long time, you don't even know the inner workings of what that kind of loyalty looked like when they were there. There's all sorts of things that can happen that keep somebody somewhere longer that have nothing to do with loyalty.
Yeah, and maybe, in my generation, that whole thing of loyalty was kind of messed up.
Yeah.
I'll keep you as because you've been here for a long time and I don't want to fire you. I know many people have been in that kind of situation. I'm not saying my wife, because my wife is good at her job. But then at the same time, there might be people who say, well, I'll stay because I don't want to leave you in a lurch. Overall, you're a good company, even though I have been getting some offers and some nibbles here or there. But I like you, you like me. We'll just stay together as long as we can stay together. That's not a really good marriage, I don't think. But
yeah, I don't think so either. I think that also can become sort of toxic over time, because now are you actually developing the person? Now are you helping the company? Are you making the right decisions for the company by having this weird like relationship with the individual, and vice versa? But I'm going to tell you a story really quick. Actually,
story time. Story time, kids. Here we go.
Yeah. So I worked for this company. Obviously, I'm not going to say the company, but in my mind, I had done many things that proved my loyalty to them, many things. And I had actually been.
But like what? Like what? Give me a sense for what did loyalty look like to you?
In my mind, it was, letting them know about things that could have put the company at a really huge risk. Showing up when others weren't able to. I'd like to add in that I was bringing in the most money at that time. So I was definitely helping from that standpoint consistently. Didn't really call out, was on work on time, all those sorts of little things that, are expectations. You don't get a gold star for being on time. You should be on time every day at your job. But I just mean, it is nice when you don't have to babysit your employees to do things like that, because even in today's world, it is. So that's kind of what I mean. Like, I was just a good employee and reliable.
Cool.
And so that's in my mind, I was in a good position. I was doing the right. So anyways, I was already planning to move out of the city that I was in to another one. And it was a very small team of us. And one of the hardest things at this company was training new people because it was very nuanced to what we did. And I could see how hard it was with other people would come and go for the company to be able to make up for loss of a person. Like even someone taking a day off sometimes would make it really hard because there was like 5 of us. Okay. So I had been planning to leave and I had told them in advance that I was taking another job in a different city and I was leaving, but I told them about a month and a half, 2 months in advance, because I said, I wanted to let you know so that you all have time to find someone to replace me, because I understand how hard it is to fill this role and how long the training takes. Well, some things went on to where the company ended up in sort of this financial situation, and they ended up actually laying me off earlier than when I was moving. And their answer was, well, it's because you're leaving already. Rationally and logically, I totally understand that. But I still had about like a month still. And I was bringing in the most money. I had done all of this stuff that I felt was like showed my loyalty. And due to me being so loyal and telling them that I was taking another job instead of waiting until 2 weeks, giving a 2-week notice, because you know what would have happened? They would have let somebody else go, not knowing that I was about to leave.
Wow.
And so where I understand a business to business, if you can't afford to pay people anymore, things have changed. I get that. But that is an example for me where it really did change my personal perspective of how do I show my loyalty and what does that look like to look out for myself in the future.
Wow, that makes me think of when I asked you some of the things that you did to show your loyalty. But thank you for sharing that. It makes me think of, for me, loyalty. Part of loyalty was coming to work even when I was sick.
Right. Which I also did.
not missing a day, and I think that was so misplaced, because what I didn't understand is that they were never getting the best of me. And if I was coming in when I was sick, I was prolonging that illness. And that meant that maybe for 2 weeks instead of 1 week, they got 30-40% of me. I'm sniffling, and then I'm making other people sick. So It's just so interesting how we look at that. I think today people are like, please stay home. We're still in, and people think we're done with the pandemic, but we're still in the pandemic with more pandemics coming. And that's changed too. Please stay home. Do not come into the office. Don't bring, no. Did you say you were sniffling? Oh, no, please stay home. So it really is interesting. And I think that it's a challenge. I like talking about this with you because I think it's a challenge on both sides. I think it's a challenge with companies. How much do I invest in people? How much do I develop those people? Because at some point they're going to be gone.
Yeah. I mean, I think those two, so my example and your example of like what we feel like loyalty look like or has looked like, I think is all rooted in this perception or the way society has told us, like, this is what it looks like to go above and beyond and do all of these things that may even put you in a compromising position for your company because then X may happen, right? They may look out for you, may not do this, they'll protect you. And that's what I kind of get from like both of our examples is like that kind of mindset, but it's a little, it's a little naive in some ways.
I think that the guiding light for loyalty, or the foundation for loyalty, should have been and should be today, should be what is best for my employees.
Yep.
And what is best for the company. And when you think about it that way, you'll understand that what's best for your employees is not always the bottom line, the immediate bottom line.
Correct.
It is the bottom line, but it's not always the immediate bottom line. Well, why can't you come in today? Well, I'm not feeling that well. Well, I have to do something for my ailing grandmother. I have to do those things. And when you get those things done as an employee, you can come to work with a mind that is not bottled up or burdened with all these other things that have to happen. I'm not saying that employers have to deal with every problem that or issue that comes up in your life, but if they can some way work as if we know that there are challenges out there, and we're here to try to make sure that those challenges don't impact our work as much.
Well, Reggie, you always say the leader is going to be like, I have so much to worry about. Now I have to worry about the burdens that people may bring inside. And so I just bring that up to something, you always say on our podcasts when we talk about leadership is, how do they have the bandwidth to worry about what may seem like micro issues, right? But they're really not, because we're talking about if I know I'm feeling really sick and I can say to you, I can't come in today, I'm feeling really sick. And I know that you're going to be like, okay, she always comes to work, she's feeling really sick, I understand. Now I'm coming in the next day or whenever thinking they were grateful, they were understanding, they wanted me to rest. And now I'm probably going to come in and work even harder because I feel seen and I don't feel like I'm just capital. And if I don't come in because I'm sick, that the whole company is going to crumble, So it's like the impact of how we deal with people's personal situations is far greater than trying to think about the financial loss possibly on that singular day.
I totally agree. And I think that the reason you and I really want to talk about this is because I think individually we have to recalibrate what loyalty looks like to us as employees. And I think corporately, companies also have to recalibrate. It's a new time. You gave a little story time. This is not a story. It's just an anecdote that someone talked to me about, is that during COVID, they had a meeting and their CEO was on the call and she had children, and the kids walked across the screen and all that. And what it did for the employees is it made those employees feel like, wow, that's a person that I always thought of this executive as untouchable. But now seeing that person in their environment struggling with some of the same issues that I had to struggle with, wow. I think that it impacts how people approach their job as well. Just now, now that we do so many of these video calls and video meetings, that it kind of changed how people look at management and everybody throughout the organization.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that culture does start at the top, right? Like if you're going and your managers or the people above you are sort of creating this culture where they're not even taking time off, they're killing themselves every day, and you're seeing that as the norm, you might adopt that even just subconsciously. Yeah.
So I want to thank your generation and those below. Where are we at? We at Z now, or what?
I don't even. I was actually just thinking that the other day. I'm feeling like 29 and old, so I don't know.
well, because I do think that you guys have had a major impact on how we look at our commitment to corporations, which has made corporations look at their commitment to individuals.
Oh yeah, retention looks totally different now.
It really looks different. Well, this was a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I love free agency, but I'm not, and that's in sports, but I'm not sure that I love it as a CEO. As a CEO, free agency, the ability to move from company to company to company, it is one of those things that's tough. It's a tough thing to work through, given the fact that you have to be super competitive now. You could keep people maybe with giving them a little bit more money, but money is not always the commodity that people are trading in.
Yeah, people want the freedom because you can get paid as much as you want. If you don't have time to enjoy what you're making and use what you're making, then you're just going to work and going home.
Wow. Look, Kat, again, it's always great to have these discussions. Hopefully, from this, it'll spur some more questions for people that they're thinking about how they're going to approach their career, but also for companies who are trying to figure out how to navigate this new workforce that's out there. What you and below are looking for in a company is totally different than that 50 years with a company.
Right. Yeah. And on top of that, we talk about commitment, we talk about loyalty and all these words, more people are going to interviews thinking like, okay, I know you're interviewing me, but what are you going to do for me? The whole dynamic has kind of changed. And on top of that, there's also more popularity in people being independent contractors. People don't want to be tied down. They want to be able to do multiple things. And what does that look like? Because if one opportunity becomes so large that now they're going to leave this other thing because they don't have the time anymore. Now companies are competing with other people that are also wanting to utilize an individual.
No, and that's true. That's a whole different ballpark and things to talk about, because there today being able to have that kind of flex time and work from home and things of that nature. I have a fireman friend who works 3 days on and 4 days off. So he has always had other interests. He had two and a half other jobs. Now, because of how the workforce has kind of recalibrated, is that you're right. A lot of people are saying to themselves, well, I have 3 or 4 interests.
Yep.
How can I pursue all of those? I want to play my trumpet in the evening. I like to what instrument did you tell me in Truth or Dare you did not play? I forget which one it was. I
played the saxophone and I played the bells. I didn't play the guitar, unfortunately.
That's what you said. That's what you said. So I want to play my saxophone in the evening. I like to do some arts and crafts during the day. I love to do some marketing stuff as well. And then I like to see if I can dabble in some sports marketing. Yeah. Yep. And people are some people are figuring out how to make all of that work within their work responsibilities, if you will, or work.
And the one income source is a time of the past these days, not just with how the economy is, but there is a lot of propaganda out there around having multiple streams of income to be able to gain wealth. And if you only have 100% to give. If you're doing 5 things, you can't give all those 5 things 100%.
And as a CEO, I just want to tell you, I don't want to hear it.
Exactly.
I do not want to hear that you have 5 interests.
Right.
I need some dedication to this. And if you can't get this done, now today I'm been more flexible than ever, saying, okay, you don't have to do it from 9 to 5, but I do need this tomorrow. So if you do it between 6 in the morning and 8 at night, I don't care.
Right.
I just need but I do need it by tomorrow. But you can't tell me you can't get it to me, because you have 5 other interests, but that's the world we live in today, and it is becoming really problematic. Well, I would tell you, I have loyalty to this program. I'm Reggie Ponder, and this is Becoming Inclusive. That is Catherine Potts, who is the co-host, and we want to thank you guys for watching the show.
Yeah, and don't forget to like, share, comment. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. All your feedback is really helpful.
I love the part about what you don't like, because we can always talk about some other things. We can address some other things as well. So please do so. And we'll see you folks next time.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for joining us, and a special thanks to our subscribers. Consider becoming one today. Becoming Inclusive is presented by the Kaleidoscope Group, your full-service diversity, equity, and inclusion partner serving clients worldwide. Learn more and continue the conversation at kgdiversity.com.